True crime has an unsettling way of pulling us in, captivating us with tales of the unthinkable happening in everyday lives. But not all stories make headlines or become household names. Some cases, while equally harrowing, slip through the cracks of public attention, leaving behind unanswered questions, decades of heartbreak, and haunting mysteries. Today, we'll explore two such cases. One, a chilling cold case from Indiana that went unsolved for over 20 years, and the other, a gruesome discovery in the heart of San Francisco that remains shrouded in uncertainty. These are stories of heartbreak, betrayal, and the dogged pursuit of justice. They remind us of the fragility of life and the importance of uncovering the truth, no matter how long it takes. In the quiet town of LaPorte, Indiana, 16-year-old Raina Ryson was known for her love of animals and her dedication to her part-time job at the local animal hospital. On March 26, 1993, Raina finished her shift but never made it home. Her abandoned vehicle was discovered shortly after, igniting a widespread search and a community desperate for answers. Weeks later, on April 27, 1993, Raina's body was tragically found in a nearby pond. The cause of death was determined to be asphyxia, indicating she had been suffocated. Despite extensive investigations, the case went cold, leaving her family and the community in a state of unresolved grief. The breakthrough came over 2 decades later. In 2013, new evidence and witness testimonies emerged, leading to the arrest of Jason Tibbs, Raina's former boyfriend. During the trial, it was revealed that Tibbs had been seen with Raina on the night of her disappearance. A key witness testified that Tibbs had confessed to the crime, providing chilling details that only the perpetrator would know. In November 2014, after a 5-hour deliberation, the jury found Tibbs guilty of murder. He was subsequently sentenced to 40 years in prison, with a minimum of 20 years before eligibility for parole. Despite appeals, including claims of inadequate legal representation, Tibbs's conviction was upheld. In 2023, a judge denied his request for a new trial, affirming the original verdict. Raina's family, while finding some solace in the resolution, continues to honor her memory. They established a music scholarship in her name, ensuring that her passion for music and life endures. The case of Brian Egg, 2018, San Francisco's South of Market, Soma district, known for its vibrant culture, was shaken in 2018 by a gruesome discovery. Brian Egg, a 65-year-old longtime resident and former bartender, was a familiar face in the neighborhood. In late July, neighbors grew concerned after noticing his prolonged absence and unusual activity around his home. Reports of strangers entering his residence and a foul odor prompted multiple calls to the police. Initially, authorities conducted welfare checks but found no signs of foul play. However, the situation took a dark turn when a crime scene cleanup crew arrived at Egg's home, allegedly hired using his own credit cards. This prompted a more thorough investigation. On August 15, 2018, police discovered a headless, handless torso submerged in a fish tank filled with chemicals, concealed under a staircase. The remains were later identified as those of Brian Egg. 2 individuals, including Lance Silva, were arrested in connection with the case. Silva faced charges related to identity theft and financial crimes, as he had been using Egg's credit cards. However, due to insufficient evidence directly linking him to the murder, homicide charges were not filed. In May 2019, the San Francisco Medical Examiner officially ruled Egg's death a homicide, but the exact cause remained undetermined due to the condition of the remains. As of August 2019, the case remains unsolved, with no one held accountable for Egg's brutal death. Neighbors and friends continue to seek justice, urging authorities to keep the investigation active. The lack of resolution has left a lingering unease in the community, highlighting the challenges law enforcement faces in cases with limited physical evidence and complex crime scenes. Raina's case is a testament to the resilience of her family and the persistence of investigators who refuse to let her memory fade into obscurity. After decades of pain and uncertainty, justice finally caught up to her killer, giving her family some measure of closure, even as they grapple with the loss that can never truly be mended. Brian Egg's case, on the other hand, leaves us with more questions than answers. It reminds us of how quickly someone can vanish without a trace, even in the bustling heart of a major city. The mystery surrounding his death and the dismembered body found in his own home continues to baffle those who seek justice for a man who deserved so much more. These cases, though separated by years and circumstances, share a common thread: the relentless pursuit of truth in the face of tragedy. They remind us of the importance of never giving up, of always asking questions, and of seeking justice for those who no longer have a voice. While the past cannot be undone, it's through the dedication of loved ones, law enforcement, and communities that we can honor the victims and ensure their stories are never forgotten.
Let's begin with the story of the zombie hunter. In the early 1990s, Phoenix, Arizona was shaken by the brutal murders of two young women. Angela Brasso, a 22-year-old known for her vibrant spirit and love for adventure, disappeared during a nighttime bike ride on November 8, 1992. Her decapitated body was discovered the following day near the Arizona Canal, a crime so gruesome it left the community in shock. Less than a year later, on September 21, 1993, 17-year-old Melanie Bernas, a high school senior described as kind-hearted and ambitious, vanished while cycling along the same canal. Her body was found floating in the canal, bearing similar signs of brutal violence. Despite the collection of DNA evidence from both crime scenes, the lack of matches in national databases left investigators at a standstill. The cases went cold, leaving the families of Angela and Melanie in a state of unresolved grief and the community in fear of an unidentified predator. Years later, the seemingly ordinary life of Brian Patrick Miller, a man known in his community for dressing as a steampunk zombie hunter, unraveled. Despite his eccentric persona, there was nothing linking Miller to these crimes until a groundbreaking break in the case emerged. DNA evidence had long connected the two murders, but it wasn't until a covert operation at a Chili's restaurant in Phoenix that investigators finally had what they needed. In a carefully orchestrated sting, undercover officers met with Miller under the guise of a casual meeting. While he dined, they discreetly collected DNA from his glass and utensils. The results were irrefutable, a direct match to the DNA recovered from both crime scenes. With this evidence, authorities arrested Miller in 2015, bringing closure to one of Arizona's most disturbing cold cases. He has since been convicted of both murders, finally ending his decades-long evasion of justice. Miller was arrested in 2015 after DNA evidence linked him conclusively to the murders of Angela and Melanie. During the trial, which concluded in 2023, the court heard harrowing details of his crimes. Miller was found guilty and received 2 death sentences for the first-degree murders, along with additional years for related charges. Kristen Smart was a 19-year-old freshman at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo, known for her academic ambition and vibrant personality. On May 25, 1996, she attended an off-campus party and was last seen walking back to her dormitory with fellow student Paul Flores. She never made it to her room, and her disappearance sparked a widespread search. Despite early suspicions surrounding Paul Flores, inconsistencies in his statements, and a lack of concrete evidence, the case languished. Over the years, leads dried up, and Kristen's whereabouts remained unknown, leaving her family and the community in a state of anguish. In 2019, a local musician named Chris Lambert launched a podcast titled Your Own Backyard, aiming to shed new light on Kristen Smart's disappearance. The podcast meticulously chronicled the case, unearthed new information, and brought national attention back to the investigation. Lambert's work not only educated the public but also encouraged witnesses to come forward, providing fresh leads for law enforcement. Renewed investigative efforts, bolstered by the podcast's revelations, led to the arrest of Paul Flores in 2021. Prosecutors alleged that Flores had murdered Kristen in his dorm room during an attempted sexual assault. In October 2022, after a highly publicized trial, Paul Flores was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, bringing a measure of justice to Kristen's family after more than 2 decades. These cases underscore the profound impact of technological advancements and persistent public interest in solving cold cases. The resolution of these tragedies offers solace to the victims' families and serves as a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice.
In the quiet corners of America, 2 unsettling events shattered the peace and left communities grappling with the unimaginable, teenagers committing murder for the sheer thrill of it. In 2001, the esteemed halls of Dartmouth College were rocked by a brutal crime involving 2 high school students. Just 6 years later, in Michigan, a meticulously planned act of violence by 2 teenagers led to a gruesome outcome. Join us as we delve deep into these harrowing cases, exploring the minds of the young perpetrators, the lives of their unsuspecting victims, and the lasting impact of their actions on the communities they devastated. Let's begin. Story 1. In the serene town of Etna, New Hampshire, nestled near Dartmouth College, Professors Haff and Suzanne Zantop had built a life rich in academia and community engagement. Originally from Germany, Haff, 62, was a respected professor of earth sciences, while Suzanne, 55, chaired the German Studies Department. Their home was a haven for intellectual discussions and warm gatherings. On January 27, 2001, the Zantops' residence became the scene of a chilling crime that would send shock waves through the academic community and beyond. That morning, 2 teenagers, Robert Tulloch, 17, and James Parker, 16, arrived at the Zantop home under the pretense of conducting research for a school project. The couple, known for their hospitality, welcomed the young men into their home. Unbeknownst to the Zantops, Tulloch and Parker harbored a sinister plan. They intended to rob and murder the couple as part of a broader scheme to finance a new life abroad. As Haff Zantop engaged with the teens, suspicions arose. The situation escalated rapidly when Tulloch attacked Haff, inflicting fatal stab wounds. In the ensuing chaos, Suzanne was also brutally stabbed as she attempted to intervene. The boys fled the scene, leaving behind a community in mourning and a trail of evidence that would soon unravel their identities. The investigation commenced immediately, with law enforcement piecing together clues from the crime scene. Forensic evidence, including fingerprints and distinctive knife sheaths left behind, led authorities to Tulloch and Parker. Realizing they were suspects, the teens fled, abandoning their vehicle in Massachusetts and attempting to hitchhike across the country. Their flight was short-lived. They were apprehended at a truck stop in Indiana, bringing a swift end to their escape. In 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that mandatory life sentences without parole for juveniles were unconstitutional. This landmark decision prompted a re-evaluation of Tulloch's sentence. In 2024, a resentencing hearing was held, during which Tulloch's legal team argued for the possibility of parole, citing his age at the time of the crime and potential for rehabilitation. The case has since been referred to the New Hampshire Supreme Court for further deliberation, highlighting ongoing debates about juvenile sentencing and justice. Meanwhile, Parker, having served over 2 decades, was granted parole in 2024. His release has been met with mixed reactions, reflecting the complex emotions surrounding the case. The tragic deaths of Half and Suzanne Zantop continue to resonate, prompting discussions about youth crime, legal responsibility, and the capacity for change. As the legal system grapples with these issues, the legacy of the Zantops endures, remembered for their contributions to academia and the indelible impact they left on their community. Story 2. In the quiet suburb of Canton Township, Michigan, the lives of three individuals, Jean-Pierre J.P. Orlovich, Alexander Letkeman, and Daniel Sorensen, intersected in a tragic and gruesome event that would forever alter their community. Jean-Pierre J.P. Orlovich was a 17-year-old senior at Canton High School. Described by neighbors as a normal kid with an innocent little face, he hailed from a family deeply rooted in the local business community. His family founded and operated Magnum Manufacturing, an auto parts supplier in Westland. Despite his seemingly typical adolescent demeanor, Orlovich harbored a dark fascination that would soon come to light. Alexander Letkeman, 18, was a former student of Churchill High School in Livonia. Known for his musical talents, he played guitar in local bands and was considered popular among his peers. However, his life took a downturn after he dropped out in 2006, following a minor in possession of alcohol charge. This incident marked the beginning of a series of poor decisions that would culminate in a heinous crime. Daniel Sorensen, 26, worked as a bouncer in River Rouge. While his past included a statutory rape conviction at the age of 17, authorities stated that his history had no bearing on the events that led to his untimely death. Sorensen was acquainted with Orlovich and Letkeman, a connection that would ultimately place him in a perilous situation. On November 7, 2007, Orlovich and Letkeman lured Sorensen to a garage owned by Orlovich's grandfather under the pretense of discussing a financial matter. Unbeknownst to Sorensen, the teenagers had meticulously prepared for a gruesome act. Tarps were spread across the floor, and tools such as a hacksaw and knife were at the ready. Once Sorensen arrived, he was ambushed and stabbed multiple times by Orlovich. In a macabre effort to conceal their crime, the pair decapitated Sorensen, used a blowtorch on his hands and feet to eliminate identifying features, and disposed of his torso in a remote area, setting it ablaze. His severed head was later found in the Rouge River, miles away from the initial crime scene. The brutality of the murder shocked the community and led to swift legal action. Orlovich was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Letkeman, who cooperated with authorities and provided testimony against Orlovich, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received a sentence of 20 to 30 years. In the years following his incarceration, Letkeman's father, Peter, became an advocate for families navigating the complexities of the prison system, aiming to provide support and resources to those facing similar challenges. As we've explored these harrowing cases, we're reminded of the profound impact that such senseless acts of violence have on victims, families, and entire communities. The tragic loss of Half and Suzanne Zantop left an indelible mark on Dartmouth College and beyond, while the brutal murder of Daniel Sorensen shocked and devastated his loved ones. These stories underscore the importance of vigilance, community support, and the ongoing efforts to understand and prevent such tragedies. By examining these events, we not only honor the memories of those lost, but also strive to foster a safer and more compassionate society. Thank you for joining us in this exploration. We encourage you to reflect on these narratives and consider how we, as a community, can work together to prevent such senseless acts in the future.